Hello friends, welcome back to Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. I'm Chris Welsh and today we're digging into SoRare buys and sells. What is SoRare? SoRare is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners. With SoRare, you own and build fantasy MLB teams like a professional GM. SoRare managers collect, buy, sell, trade, and compete with officially licensed digital playing cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. You own your own cards, win or lose. There's no cost to play. Just go to fantasypros.com/collect to find out more and to sign up. fantasypros.com/collect. SoRare MLB. The next era is yours. So let's dig into some names for you guys. I'm going to give you a SoRare roster of players that I'm interested in acquiring right now. I'm buying into these guys. Then at the end, I'm going to drop a few names that I think I'm going to get out of the business of. So let's dig in. First up here at our starting pitcher position, going with Tampa Bay Rays starting pitcher Shane McClanahan. Now, obviously, McClanahan is not a lesser-known name, but the pricing is definitely at the discount of what I consider an ace. McClanahan has over 11K per nine while striking out 6 or more in his first 3 starts of the season. He's walking a little bit more, but that might help his price being a little bit cheaper. His last start on SoRare put up 31 points. He's going for much cheaper than Sandy Alcantara or Spencer Strider. In fact, he's about 15 to 20% less than Jacob deGrom and Dylan Cease. He's a top pitcher going for the price of a tier or lower pitcher. McClanahan is a great investment. Coming in our relief pitcher spot, I'm going with Tampa Bay Rays closer Peter Fairbanks. Peter Fairbanks has not given up a run yet in this early part of the season. He's also saving games for the #1 team in baseball. That's a perfect 2 for 2 on the early opportunities. Now the Rays, they have gone with a closer by committee in the past, but they seem to be committed, at least that we've seen in this last week. I find the relief pitcher position to be a really critical and crucial part of your SoRare lineups, but obviously, you'd like to make bigger commitments in other places. Fairbanks has put up 18 and 20-point performances against Boston most recently. I compared this against Devin Williams, one of the top closers on the market. He picked up a save, 19. In the last 5, it was only 1 save, and he had 19 points scored on SoRare. But he's coming at an almost twice the cost of Peter Fairbanks. So just like a traditional fantasy team, cheaper closers on good teams, they're safe bets to make. Let's go and take a look at our corner infielder. This could be a lot of different spots, but I am going with Philadelphia Phillies third baseman Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm has gotten off to a hot start in Philly. He's hitting over 300, and he's just barely missing a 3.45 slash. He's hitting the ball harder with more barrels, which has put a 200-plus ISO for the first time in his career up, and a career-high xwOBA at 374. xwOBA, a better marker when you're looking at maybe batting average. And this, by the way, that xwOBA is in the top 25 percentile of the league. He's paired this, all of this, with a career low strikeout percentage, which is around 15%. And the trust of the Phillies to keep moving him up in the lineup are going to create even more opportunities. Bohm is averaging the same score on this year as Orioles Gunnar Henderson, but in some cases, he's going for less than 2 times the price of the very popular rookie. Alec Bohm, maybe go take an investment, because I think at the end of the year, the stats you see from him, gonna be eye-opening. Next up is one of my favorites, and I've got investments up here. You can see actually a Bobby Witt jersey in front of me, because it is Bobby Witt from the Kansas City Royals for our middle infield spot. He got off to a slow start to the year, really with crazy low BABIP, which has stalled some of his value. He's picked it up a little bit. In fact, he stole 3 bases in 1 game just a few nights ago. That put up a 33-point performance on SoRare. What makes it more interesting is his 2 contemporaries that he's valued with, Wander Franco, Julio Rodriguez. Those 3 seem to all go together. They're both going for more than about a third of Bobby Witt's price on SoRare. Wander going into Saturday had season score of about 7 on SoRare, while Witt, 8. Julio, by the way, at 9. Bobby Witt Jr. is a great value to buy in on now, even though he's still a pricey guy. He's one of the more popular names in baseball. Like I said, compared to his contemporaries, he is a crazy deal right now. Moving over to the outfield, how about Juan Soto with the San Diego Padres? Juan Soto's in-season value is starting to differ from his long-term value. So what this means in like fantasy terms, redraft leagues, he's starting to come in cheaper, at least his valuation, than he is in Dynasty. Dynasty prices are holding People are getting worried in redraft. SoRare has a really fun element of both the playing now and then the long term as far as like an investment in getting the cards. Currently, Soto is sporting only a 189 batting average as well as a 189 BABIP. That means that there's a lot of potential batting average increase in his future. Now, here's the thing I find most interesting about Juan Soto right now. His pricing on SoRare is only a few notches lower than a guy like Yordan Alvarez. So what this tells me is that Soto's market is really stable. And he's doing this hitting under 200, and those prices are holding. So what happens if he starts getting going? His performance and value, both, in my eyes, are on the rise. Now let's take a look at our extra bat. This can be any of the bats. And someone I want to invest in across the board is Baltimore Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman. Rutschman might be one of the best hitters in baseball already. And I know that's crazy to think about, but it's true. April 10th through the 14th, Adley put up double-digit point performances on SoRare in 4 of the 5 days. And even though he's a catcher, which might suppress his value a little bit, the guy's playing every single day. His season score currently is the same as someone we talked about, Wander Franco, yet he's coming in at half of the price. From limited to ultra rare, I'm trying to buy Adley Rutschman everywhere and get him in our SoRare lineups. Now let's look at our final spot on our roster of buys. And we're going to look at the flex spot, and I settled on what was difficult. A lot of names to think about. Minnesota Twins starting pitcher Pablo Lopez. Pablo Lopez struck out 8 or more batters in his first 3 starts of the season. His velocity is up. He's added a brand new sweeper, which has turned him from a mid-tier starting pitcher to knocking on the door being a top 20 starting pitcher. He's a buy. But I would caution you that he may be rocketing one way or the other soon. And what I mean by this is if his next start is less than stellar, I think his prices could be cut maybe in half, because his prices are actually not too crazy cheap on SoRare right now. So if he then has a great performance, I think, like he has another 8 strikeouts, I think his price could jump by another 25%. So it has major swings one way or the other because the prices are a little bit of a peak. But good or bad, I want to own Pablo Lopez. When you do it, that's your call, and be a little bit tricky with it. Those are our SoRare buys as far as a roster goes. Now, I've got a couple sells, guys that I'm getting out of the business of on SoRare. Number 1 is Cubs shortstop Dansby Swanson. Swanson has been all or nothing this year. Check this out. He has had 5 games this year of multi-hit. He's also had 5 games with no hits. April 11th, he had a 4-hit game. April 14th, he had a 5 strikeout game. Going into April 15th, 4 of his 5 previous games, Dansby Swanson put up a negative score on SoRare. There'll always be a market for Cubs shortstops and Cubs players and Cubs superstars, but there are better shortstops to invest and lock into. So I am down on Dansby Swanson. Number 2, this is a guy that I want to actually be in on. It's Masataka Yoshida with the Boston Red Sox. Yoshida hasn't played since April 11th, and though he doesn't strike out, which is the complete opposite of what we saw with Dansby Swanson and gives him a floor, he also is not finding his bat. That obviously can come back, but it's going to come at a much lower level than I think we expected. He only has 8 hits on the year. Only 2 of those are extra base hits. His name's value is worth more than his actual production. This might be a piece where he is a more valuable real life player than he is in any type of a fantasy capacity. And that's something I'm not into chasing. So again, this is a player on a big name team that I am moving off of. And finally, I'm going to Guardians starting pitcher Shane Bieber as a sell. Bieber is sporting a nice 2.37 ERA, but he has an expected ERA that's over 4. Bieber's ERA is in the top 25 lowest of qualified pitchers, which is nice, but he has the 3rd worst K per 9 of that group. It's barely over 6. He's on a team that's going to snatch up wins, but his spin decreases, his velo decreases. They're not for me. He maintained it last year. It's going to come to a head soon. His value will dip if that ERA catches up to its expected numbers, and I am out. And there you have it, friends. Go and check out SoRare's marketplace right now. Go pick up limited all the way to 101s of some of these players we talked about, or your favorite players. That's what's so great about SoRare. Go to fantasypros.com/collect to get going with SoRare today. fantasypros.com/collect to get your team, and you can start into the marketplace and get any of the players that you want. Find me on Twitter at IsItTheWelsh, and I will talk more SoRare with you next time right here on Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel. Bye, friends.